by an institution, which we normally call it as the stamp of quality or the assurance of quality education in those institutions. However, there are also multiple levels in which follow. Okay, hi there. Therefore, the the onus on all the education institutions to go for NAAC accreditation has picked up momentum in the recent past. And all of us need to understand the institutions on themselves apply to NAAC and request the NAAC to assess and give us a set of inputs or set of feedback points for the institution to work on. I'm sure the experts would look at the education institution more comprehensively with their experience of uh, having visited several institutions, give a set of recommendations for the institution to transform or move to the next level. Two important things that I've observed in the entire process of accreditation. There are two important bodies. One is the international body of accreditation, of course, NABAC and IET and others. There's also the national accreditation bodies where we have uh, uh, NAAC, NBA, and others. The most important thing is, hello? ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸಿ ಮೇಲ್ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಲೇಟರ್ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕಳಿಸಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. I keep getting these calls intermittently. Says, please bear with me. The major difference that I see between the international accreditation and the national accreditation is that in the international accreditation, the entire process seems to help the organizations to identify a path or a process which will take them to next level. In other words, the international accreditation is a very smooth affair where they point out a lot of things which we may not have been doing. And they also indicate that we will give you sufficient time to incorporate those components and finally come for the final audit. Normally, there are 3 or 4 levels in which it's being done at the international level. The first level is the submission of data, which is being evaluated by a team of experts. They would seek a lot of clarifications because the Indian system of education is different from their system of education. They try to understand and compare with the international education processes being followed. The second level, once all these observations are being looked at, and if institutions write a response to them saying that we have looked at all this thing, we are taking care of these observations, then there will be an audit called as a kind of mock audit or advisory visit. Advisory visit is again they do the same process from scratch, from step 1 to step 10 or step 20. They clearly indicate this is the process. They evaluate each one of them, again give a set of inputs for people to work on. Then they come for the final visit. Final visit is the one where the team would look at everything very seriously and they decide what kind of drawbacks are there, how many things have been addressed, to what extent the quality has improved in the organization. Ultimately, they look at only one aspect, where is the quality of education offered in an institution is comparable to the quality offered in any reputed university elsewhere. That's a kind of criteria. It's more to assist and help. That's the kind of thing. As for our national things are concerned, it's slightly different in the sense we submit a SSR and there'll be two different mechanisms. If you look at the NAAC, the SSR being evaluated, ultimately the DVV process and PTV process is going to happen. Ultimately 70-30 is the kind of thing. Meanwhile, they keep asking you a lot of document to support the claims that are made in the SSR. And finally, a visit would happen and a grade is being accredited. The only thing that I see as a component of advisory thing is missing in our accreditation system. Possibly over a period of time, if we can bring in that component, I think the institutions stand to benefit. I think that's the next level to which we need to graduate and start doing well. To cut the long story short, I thank Professor Ravi Shankar and Madam Mangala Keshav for agreeing to interact with the faculty of various BITES institutions, and there will be more numbers from Dayanand Sagar University, the Dayanand Sagar institutions to participate. And also there are a few faculty members joining at KIET Delhi, where director of KIET requested me whether uh, some inputs can be given to them for their accreditation process. I think ultimately the idea is to share our knowledge as much as we can, so the large pool of people would benefit from the process. And both of them are experts, and they would give us what are the minute points that we need to look at in each of the 7 criteria that's going to be listed out in NAAC, and also provide us the clarifications for some of the doubts that we have. I thank both of them immensely for their time and uh, consent to be with us today and tomorrow. Today is about 1.5 hours, 2:30 to 4. Tomorrow also between 2:30 to 4. So that all the 7 criteria can be covered. And after that also, if any one of us have any kind of doubts, probably we can write to them and get the clarifications. And I take this opportunity to thank the Dayanand Sagar University for organizing, for hosting this particular event. And since I am the Vice Chancellor of Dayanand Sagar University and also the Chairman of BITES, I need to thank both the organizations for taking the initiative. And I request all the faculty to participate actively, understand the processes, which will help you in the long run. In other words, all this knowledge would become very handy when you start moving up in the uh, cadre, when you move from an assistant professor to associate to professor to dean to whatever. That will help. In that context, I request all of you to participate actively and ask questions, seek clarifications, and help Dayanand Sagar University and all the other institutions to get a better rating, a better ranking, which clearly means that the quality that we are going to offer is higher than the quality that we were offering in the past. Over to Professor Vinayak, and thank Vinayak for taking all the necessary effort to organize this program. Over to you, Vinayak. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your inspiring advice and making us aware of different national and international bodies involved with the accreditation process. And you also explained the procedure involved. We are thankful to you, sir, for organizing this function. And without much ado, I would like to introduce today's experts to the audience. First, Dr. B.B. Ravishankar. Dr. B.B. Ravishankar, principal of BMS College of Engineering. He is having around 32 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. And he has completed his PhD degree from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and ME, post-graduation and graduation degrees from Bangalore University. He is member of different bodies of VTU. He is VTU EC member, Academic Senate member, NBA expert member and evaluator, and AICT expert member and evaluator, and number of accredited bodies. And he has initiated a digitization program at BMS CE campus through e-governance. His research interests include geotechnical and geoenvironmental engineering, and he is associated with professional bodies like a member of Indian Geotechnical Society, executive committee member of Karnataka Geotechnical Center, life member of Indian Society for Technical Education, and other governing bodies. He is a member of Board of Examinations. He has delivered number of invited lectures at various universities, and he has received awards and recognitions. He has received Best Teacher Award by Rotary Club Bangalore, and Nada Bhishma Prashasti by Chamrajpet Kannada Samsthana Kendra Bangalore, Rajyostava Raja Ratna Prashasti by Karnataka Pratibha Vedika Academy Bangalore, and he is having regular interaction with industry also. His teaching interest includes engineering mechanics, strength of materials, and soil mechanics, foundation engineering, environmental engineering, and fluid mechanics. And he has published number of articles in referred journals and conference of international and national repute. We are privileged to have you, sir, as today's speaker. Once again, I welcome you for today's session, sir.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Now, it is my privilege to introduce Dr. Mangala Keshava to the audience. Mangala Keshava is Dr. Mangala Keshava is Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering. She has completed her doctoral degree from Vishwesvaraya Technical University, Belgaum, and Master of ME from UVC Bangalore, and Bachelor of Engineering from MS Ramaya Institute. Her research interests include structural masonry, and reuse and recycle materials and technology, and embedded energy aspects and buildings. She has number of publications with reputed journals, and she has published her articles in also international conference of highest repute. And ma'am is external for, she has guided so many external, she has undertaking number of external R&D projects sponsored by AICT and other funding agencies. She has delivered number of invited lectures on various disciplines, and she is guiding PhD supervision also to number of students. And she has completed around 30 MTech dissertations during her professional career. She is life member of Indian Society of Technical Education, and she has organized number of events she has organized number of events in BMS IT. Ma'am, with this, we are very privileged to have you as our today's speaker. Now I request ma'am to continue with her presentation. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am, please.
Yeah, thank you. Our principal will do the introduction first, and then I will start with the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, at the outset, let me thank Vinayak Hemadre for telling few good words about me.
Thank you
very much. And also, I should thank the Vice Chancellor of Dayanand Sagar University, without whose, in fact, initiation, I don't think this program would have come to today's exit, right? So thank you very much. And anyway, when you are talking, Vinayak, you said about excellence, and also Professor KNB was talking about the quality. So that means to say excellency and quality. These are the two words which has become a buzzing words nowadays, and just it should not remain as a buzzing words. But I think we need to put efforts and in order to reach. That's why I always keep telling that one should be able to prove that L is equal to E. What is that? L is equal to E means learning should take us to excellence. That in between, you may have many thought-provoking ideas. That ideas need to be brought to reality, and reality need to be brought in terms of progress, and the progress, consistency in the progress should lead to excellency. That is how the L should be equal to E should happen. Now, the quality of the institutions have become a mandatory nowadays, and survival also has become a challenging. So therefore, such being the case, unless you put efforts towards the quality measures, I keep telling, how do you really rate the institutions, it is not by quantity, it is not by infrastructure. But and also I keep telling, it's not that the content which should, container which should matter. It is the content which should matter always. The content is the one which always takes us to the level of high quality. So that means to say we need to develop the contents. Contents includes all the quality parameters. You start listing the parameters. Each and every parameter should lead to the quality of the institution. That's what the institution need to focus. So therefore, now how do you qualitatively quantify institutions? One of the ways is that you should go in for the NAAC programs and NBA, which is at a program level, and NAAC is at the institution level. Therefore, these two things have become mandatory, and this has forced us to go in for either for NBA initially and later on NAAC at the institution level. Therefore, I think this is a right way of understanding. And not only understanding. See, one level is understanding, but exploring and expanding is what actually should happen. I hope the audience who are presenting today are going to have a lot many discussions, and without discussions, I don't think the learning should happen. So I request all of you to please go through and plan yourself and try to ask the questions. So without question, professionals should always learn by questioning and reasoning, not simply accepting. It should not be like a passive way of learning. So my request to all the participants is, please listen to us, and wherever you have questions, please either you put it in the chat box, which we definitely going to address, or you can raise your hand and ask for the queries. But that should happen only at the end of after the presentation is over. Okay. So now. And we are going to present it in 3 parts. First part will be a gist about the NAAC. All of us know what is NAAC, why is NAAC. But still, I would prefer that each and every participant should know about the NAAC and the process of NAAC. And later on, we'll be focusing more towards the criteria. As our Vice Chancellor said, there are 7 criteria which are very, very important. And those criteria need to be, again, you need to quantify them with physical documents. That's very, very important. Already that is also said by our Vice Chancellor. Then later on, we want also to share some of the best practices, because the best practice is also one of the parameters need to be satisfied in our NAAC assessment. Therefore, what are the best practices and what is that BMSC is practicing? Just want to share it as an information to all the participants, right? That's going to happen in these 2 days, right? Over to Mangala. Mangala is going to present today and maybe tomorrow till some time, and later on I'm going to join to present the remaining part of the the talk. Okay, with this over to Mangala, and also I welcome all of you virtually to BMSC, because now everything is become virtual, and that's what is going to be the reality. Now COVID, though it has caused pandemics, but still it has shown us so many new ideas, new thoughts, new approaches, new way of teaching learning process. That means to say, it's not that it has created a pandemic, but it has taught us so many new lessons. That means to say we need to appreciate. That is the beauty of professionals. Professionals should have the quality of adaptability. That means to say, now today we have, all of us have adapted to the new way of teaching learning online, never thought of. Right? And even education, we never thought it is going to be a measurable quantity. Now it has become a measurable quantity. That means to say, so many challenges are now coming ahead, even in teaching learning process. Therefore, as a professional, I think we need to adapt, understand, and not only understand, but should be able to apply. That's what should happen, and that's going to happen. With this, thank you very much, Vinayak. And also, I wholeheartedly should thank our, my very good mentor, Professor KNB, who is also the Vice Chancellor of NAAC University. Thank you very much. Over to Mangala. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a very nice introduction about NAAC and all the details that will be happening in the 2 days. I would also like to extend my thanks to the Anand Sagar University and BITES for organizing the awareness program on NAAC. It is quite heartening to see that more and more institutions are interested in the NAAC accreditation. I hope these 2 days will be able to show some awareness and exposure on the NAAC accreditation. Before I start off, I would like to submit that this is not the method of what is to be followed. What we are doing at BMSC is the one of the methods that we are following. So I again stress upon, this is what I'm going to share, what we went through during the NAAC cycle 2, when we went in for the accreditation in the, it was roughly around 2018-19, and we were awarded in March 2019. So with this, this one acknowledgement to all the concerned people here, I would like to start off this talk. Like our principal said, it is divided into 3 parts. So the first part is on the awareness program about the accreditation. Yeah, this is the brief contents of the talk, where I will be talking about NAAC, then the assessment accreditation process, a very important body, IQAC, the role and responsibilities of it, and then how do you do the self-study report? What does NAAC tell you on the SSR? Then how do you start documenting it? In addition to this, the next 3 what I have written, that is on IIQA, the assessment profile and the extended profile, are very, very important, and this is the basic thing that you need to do before you go into the accreditation program. This is our head office. This is a very nice sprawling head office that is there in Bangalore. And then the next slide, I've just put up a screenshot about the NAAC. Now, once you decide that the institution has to go in for accreditation, so it is mandatory that whoever is the coordinator or whoever you call as the person who will take care of this accreditation, they have to see this particular NAAC website. It is a very dynamic website, in the sense that they keep on giving flash news day in and day out. And so their formats may change, their assessing process may change. So you have to be continuously on this website. Now, these are the contacts, of course. I said about the announcements and the guidelines and the notice to the HEI institution that there should be a person who will be only looking into this day in and day out. Now, let me start off with NAAC. So, like you know, NAAC is the abbreviation for National Assessment and Accreditation Council. NBA is the one for National Board of Accreditation that takes into the program-wise level, whereas NAAC looks into the institute level. They have a very nice vision statement which says making quality assurance an integral part of the functioning of HEIs. So I would like to underline here, there are only 2 keywords in this vision statement. One is quality assurance, the other one is the higher education institution. So everybody, we should make an attempt to tread the path of quality. So what is the methodology that will be followed by NAAC? One is you have to, they give us the self-assessment to be done by the institution itself. And then there is a team that will come and check out whether this, whatever we have told them, we are following it. So it is a very simple process, a simple method that is being followed. There are 5 core values. Now, whatever an institution does, like I said, quality is very important for HEI. You have to see that whatever is being adopted in the institute should fall into this 5 core values that is defined by NAAC. They say it should contribute to the development of the nation. It should see that our students will become competent globally and nationally. And very important, the rich value system that should be inculcated. And then promoting the use of technology. I think this is something that has taken a wave in this pandemic. So that is one of their core values. And then last is we should continuously have quest for excellence. Like our principal said, L is equal to E. That equation is very difficult to be to maintain, but then or to achieve. But then any attempt towards that also is worth attempting it. So these are the 5 core values. So this should be always in the background of any institution when they are taking up any initiatives or the policies that they frame. Now, what is a higher education institute? What is it that they have to follow? They have to go through this, they call it as the revised assessment and accreditation framework, which is to be ICT enabled, transparent and robust. And the focus of assessment is very simple. They just focus on quality culture. Now, what is it in terms of? I underline and I again highlight these 3 words. What are the quality initiatives taken by the institute? And having taken the initiatives, are they be able to sustain it? And once they have sustained it, are they trying to enhance it? Now, what NAAC looks is very simple. Whether the institute is following a continuous improvement with respect to quality. There are no benchmarks that this should be there, that should be there. What they say is whether a institute is trying to tread the upper part of the, that means they see that whether we are going up towards quality culture. That is all the only thing that they do. So now in this assignment, what is to be done is they ask us to submit what is called as SSR, that is the self-study report. And it's not a simple job. SSR preparation is a Herculean task, which involves all the stakeholders. I have mentioned a few stakeholders, or I think the generally the stakeholders that are there in any higher education institute. Now, the accreditation status, if you see, you have the different grades, and I think everybody is aware about it. And you see from grade A++ to C is the one that is that tells the status of accreditation. Now, why I have put this slide is irrespective of where we stand, whether we may get B grade or A grade or initially whatever it is. Our preparation once we decide to go for accreditation should always be A++. So that is the reason that I have given this. We have to prepare towards that. Whatever we get, we have to accept with that. And then the next cycle, we should better it. Now, having known the various status, what is the grades of it, I already mentioned that role of IQAC, that is Internal Quality Assurance Cell, is a very important body that is closely associated with accreditation. So the first and foremost of IQAC is we need to form a core cell, which has representatives from all stakeholders. Then having done that, we have to make a pyramid. That means we have to identify who are the department level IQAC coordinators. So I would just like to mention, like BMS College has 18 departments, that is 13 on the undergraduate, 3 for the pure science, and then 2 MBA, MCA. So for each department, we have a department level coordinator who will closely work with this IQAC. Then we have to identify the role and responsibilities of the coordinators. What is it that we want from the coordinators? And then generally IQAC sees that it participates in each and every academic or curricular or co-curricular or extracurricular activities that is arranged in the institute. Now, to do all this, we need to have a robust office, an office that will work like any other division in the college. So you try to see that you have a separate office dedicated for IQAC. Now, there are some responsibilities of IQAC that has to be taken forward. Now, for that, we need the help of the stakeholders. Now, when I say the stakeholders, whatever I had mentioned earlier, I have put it here in the form of the slide. The performance of the student, the dedication of the teachers, the support from the alumni, the trust of the employers, and finally, the confidence of the parents, all knit together will see to it that quality is achieved in the institute. Each and everybody has an important role to play to see that quality is maintained. Now, IQAC, when you start with the IQAC, the NAAC tells that you have to have a core committee, which is very, very important. Now, core committee comprises of external and internal representatives. So you have for external, it is a must that you should have at least one from industry, alumni, one from a local body or a society, and from an entrepreneur. This is a must. For an internal representation, by default, the head of the institution becomes the chairman of IQAC, and by default, the IQAC coordinator becomes the convener. In addition to this, you can comprise of few department coordinators. Management representative is a must, registrar, COE, that is control of examination, chief librarian, technical staff, and student representative. So you can see with this that the cross section of the entire stakeholder is included in this core committee. It's very important. And when you select who has to be the representative, we have to do it very judiciously. We have to see that whatever inputs they give should be for the growth of the institute. We have, I have just put on the responsibilities of IQAC. IQAC participates in the strategic planning of the institute, which has both the short and long-term goals, in the preparation and timely submission of AQARs, that is the annual quality assurance report. It gets involved in the audits, that is academic administrative audits, preparing for cycles of NAAC, submission of SSR, and almost all activities of the institution. Now, if I try to list a few of the major activities in which BMS IQAC was part in BMS College, academic audit, that is an audit that is done every semester And it comprises of 3 levels of audit, where you have a faculty level audit, then you have a department level audit, and then you have an institute level audit. So institute level audit is initiated by IQAC. Then of course preparation of annual reports, then participation in all the rankings that you need to put up the image of the institute, facilitating training programs, then conducting meetings among the staff members to share the best practices amongst the departments. Then we have liaison with the media to share information, like we have the Outlook, or you have Times of India, or you have 360 Degrees, who will continuously keep asking for sharing the data. And IQAC will house a large amount of data of the entire institute. So that data, we have to share it with the outsiders. And then we become part of the major committees that visit the college. It could be the VTU, the university committee, or it can be the local inquiry committee. All details to be given by IQAC. And then of course we have to propose a plan of action. And last but not the least, we have to also be part of the SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunity, challenge, and try to conduct the green audit and energy conduct. This list is not only this much. You can keep adding to the other things that you feel it is important. Now, I would like to share, and I'm very happy also to share the IQAC office that participated in the NAAC. We have Mr. G. Srinivas, then Mrs. Saraswati Madam, and Shanta Kumari and Jayashree Madam. Now, we see that there is a absolute division of the work that we distribute. And then we see to it that this is continuously being followed up. The bulk of the data is very, very voluminous when you do for NAAC. And then you need people who are very good in the computer, so that they are able to take this data, compile the data. Collection of data is also challenging. Then next you have compilation of this data, and then submission of the data. Now, in addition to this, we also have the webmaster, and we have a photographer who are a part and parcel of this particular office. Now, if all this is possible, this process of going through NAAC is possible only if there is good cooperation and participation by the head of the institution. So I would like to just mention here, which I always keep telling in all the presentation, that there cannot be a winning of the World Cup without MS Dhoni. So that is the role that was played by our principal. It was very nice to work with him, because he was very, very supportive at all times of the NAAC process. So this process involves management, the entire managing body, head of the institution, IQAC members, coordinators, the administrative office, all different sections that are there, like to name admission, examination, sports, or name it, or even accounts. All those division, library, sports, then extracurricular bodies, and any other. It could be the NSS, NCC, each and every person, starting from the security who is standing in front of the gate of the institution to the gardener. Everybody plays a role in this NAAC process. Now I will just come to the actual details of how do you go through this NAAC cycle. Now, to go through this NAAC cycle, I have marked in 2 colors. The first one, which is in white color, is the regular role that is played by IQAC. Now, if the institute decides to go for the NAAC, then you need to take into account all the white color as well as the green color that is mentioned. So the green color is very important, which my further slides will tell you what is the importance of IIQA, SSR, and then the SSS, that is Student Satisfaction Survey. Now, like Vice Chancellor mentioned at the start of the talk, I would again recall the same words. When you're going for NAAC cycle, there are different stages of it. The first stage is you have to submit the IIQA. When you submit the institutional information for quality assessment, you get to know from NAAC people whether you're eligible for the submission of SSR. Now, and you get a timeline for that. So once you prepare the SSR and submit the self-study report, the next process is also equally important at SSR, which they call it as the DVV. That is data verification and validation. That process is again a big Hercules process that is initiated by NAAC. And then the time you submit your SSR, the same day the student satisfaction survey is put up for the students to participate. And the last one is once you're done through IIQA, SSR and DVV, the last is where the peer team will come and then check whatever we have declared is what is there in the institute. Now, the requirements for the self-study report in particular is that there is an executive summary. It is a summary that has to be written. Either it could be written by the IQAC body, or you can assign it for somebody also of a senior person in the institute who is aware of all the functioning of the functions that are happening in the institute. So you need to put up a summary in the stipulated amount of words. So NAAC gives, for some it is 250, for some it is 500, for some it is 1000. But in executive summary, he says it is 250 words. And mind you, when you're doing this online submission, 251 word also is not accepted by NAAC. So it is very important that you write the summary and also follow the number of words that is required. So executive summary is criteria wise. Then you need to have the profile of the college. You have something called as QIF, which I will tell you a little later. Then an individual evaluative report of the department. From each and every department that is there in the institute, they have to summarize what is the evaluative report. And last is the data templates that is there. There are two types of, they don't call it as questions. They say it is metric. They say it is qualitative metric or quantitative metric. Now, 70% of your document will be quantitative metric, that is a measurable quantity. Then 30% will be qualitative metric, which you will just tell in the form of an explanation, and that is verified by the peer team visit. Now, I would also like to tell at this point, now whatever the further discussion that will happen in this particular presentation is with respect to autonomous college application. Now, when you go to NAAC and decide that you want to go for NAAC accreditation, there are three types of application that will be there. The first is university level, the second is autonomous college, and the third is affiliated college. So you have to very carefully check which is the application that is applicable for the higher education institute. Please cross check with the NAAC people also. They are very they are available at all times. You can call up their help desk. They will inform you whether it is the right application form that you have selected. So whatever is the presentation that happens today and tomorrow will be only with respect to the autonomous college that BMS is, and that is the metric that I will be discussing. The qualitative indicative framework, that is QIF, now I have put up the 7 criteria. The first criteria is the curricular aspect, which is for 150. And this is, I told you, this is with respect to autonomous college application. Now, the ones that are written in the bullets, they talk about everything that is related to curriculum. And we have to only see how NAAC will view is whether this curriculum is in tune with the emerging trends nationally and globally. That is the final outcome of this curriculum 1. And in curricular 2, which is teaching learning process, it is a very bulky criteria because it is for 300 marks. And everything that is with respect to teaching, that is where the teachers come. It is with respect to learning, where the students come. And it is with respect to evaluation, where both teachers and students come into picture. So this particular criteria reflects the effective mechanism through transparency and the satisfaction level of the student. Now, when you go to criteria 3, it is on research, innovation, and extension. Actually, this criteria is for 150 marks, but it is the criteria which has a maximum number of metric. There are 30 metrics in this. This is the most biggest criteria that is there. So this reflects the research culture. In the presentation later, I will go through each one of the bullet in detail. In criteria 4, it talks about the infrastructure and learning resources. Criteria 4, 5, 6, 7, they are for 100 marks each. And infrastructure and learning resources. So what does this criteria reflect? It reflects that even this is very important or necessary to maintain quality of academics. Now, when you come to criteria 5, that is on student support and progression, what is the initiative taken by the institute for the holistic development of the college will reflect in this criteria. Now, once you come to criteria 6, now criteria 6 is very important because whatever happens in criteria 6, the policies and the practices that will be vetted by the concerned body will be reflected in criteria 1 to 5. So we have to, criteria 6 and criteria 7 are very important. They have more of qualitative metrics, more of write-ups that will come into the picture here. So the steps or the initiatives taken gets reflected in quality with respect to quality in criteria 6. Last is on the institutional values and best practices. Now we declare that we have everything in place, but then we should also see what have we contributed towards the value system. What are the best practices that is practiced in the institute? So the reflection here is institution which is impactful is a sure reflection of its quality. So this is how I hope I have been able to summarize what are the 7 criteria. So the second part of presentation will be going on a one-to-one basis. Now, having done the qualitative framework, QIF, I would like to now say what is your NAAC accreditation documents going to be? Your general documentation requirement is, it is only measurable. Measurable means it is quantifiable. So we have to see what is the formula that is given. And this formula will reflect on the data that is given in a template. Template means it is an MS Excel sheet where they would have asked you to put some data. So this is what is in a quantitative metric. Now you come to a qualitative metric. There's a description. It could be 100 words, I said, 200 words, 500 words, and in some, one of the description, it is up to 1,000 words also. Now, if the measurable quantity is, or the verifiable quantity for bullet number 1 and bullet number 2. Bullet number 1 is template. Bullet number 2 is an write-up. So for that is, you should have documents to prove whatever you have given. So that is the scanned copies of all the documents. You have to keep it as the backup. You have to have summary of sheets, which is only in the form of numbers. Then you have detailed sheets, that is the working sheets. Scanned copies, I have told you, it all the NAAC mandates that many of this information should be put on the website. Then you should have whatever events you have done, you should be able to have brochures, handouts, whatever it is. So when you see the bullets, you can see how much of manpower is required. So with this manpower, you can see it is only teamwork. And the goal of the entire team is to establish a quality system in place. Okay. Let us now look into the important documents that I said, IIQA, profile of the institution, and extended profile of the institution. These 3 documents has to be prepared well in advance with lot of care before you start off with the actual preparation of SSR. This is somewhat some of the summary I can say, which will be in the form of numbers, and the answer for this will be yes or no. That's all. It is a very brief description that it demands. Now let us take for the first one, IIQA. IIQA has these 6 bullets which talks on basic eligibility. That means in an institution, minimum 2 batches should have passed out. Then only you are eligible to apply for the accreditation. You should have complied with all the authoritative, the statutory bodies. Then you have your own college information, the academics, the different departments, the programs they float, and quality information, whether you have an IQAC in place and when was it formed and what are the committee members. Profile of the institution, it extends to what are the recognition you have, what are the accreditation you have, which programs have been accredited by NBA, and then whether the institute has potential for excellence, whether it is having a tie-up, like I can say TechUp, that is quality education technical education quality information in this one program, indicative program. So you have TechUp 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, which is from a World Bank. It could be something else also. It could not be TechUp. It could be any other body that is running in the institute. And finally, the physical details of the campus that is required. The last is about extended profile. Now, why I have mentioned about all this is, all this has a bearing on the details that you submit in the criteria. Now, this is the most important one. The most important one of your entire thing is the extended profile. Now, why I say most important is, whatever information you give here becomes the denominator in the criteria. So you have to very clearly, very carefully check and cross-check and put the details. So this has 4 parts: program, students, then academic, and then institution. Now the program, all these bullets are available on the website. The questions and the words that I have taken, all this I have taken it from the NAAC website only. There is no problem. You can also see this, but I'm just sharing. The reason is I'm telling the significance and importance of this that you fill in. Now the first one is number of programs offered. So now in the 5 years. Now when it comes to the 5 years, you should be very careful. Which is the year that you're planning to do your accreditation, you're applying. Now let us say now we are in 2020, or I can say we are in the academic year 2021. In this year you plan to submit your SSR, then the 5 qualifying years will be 19, 20, 18, 19, 17, 18, 16, 17 and 15, 16. So this clarity you should have. So the 5 years remain freezed for all the programs. For all the criteria, that remains the same. Now, by any chance, you have not been able to submit in 2021, you have moved to 21-22, then 5 years will start from 2021. So you should be able to get data for all these years that you're mentioning here. So now when I put here as an example, I have put 27 programs that were floated at that point of time in BMS College. The denominator for the metrics for under calculation will have the 27. So the software will pick it from here and then put it in the denominator there. So that is why I said you have to cross check that. Now coming to student profile. See, they have only 5 questions on student profile, but all these 5 will come as denominators in the respective criteria. Now, for example, number of students who are studying in the last 5 years. So in the bottom, you can see the table where I put UG number and PG number. So if you have post-graduation, you have to add even them, whoever is there on the campus. Now, when I say 16, 17, then it starts from 13, 14. 13, 14 student will be in the 4th year in 16, 17. 14, 15 student will be in the 3rd year. And then 15, 16 student will be in the 2nd year. And 16, 17 itself admitted student will be in the 1st year. So this clarity when you should have when you're collecting the data. Otherwise, it will be a mess. It will be very difficult to segregate the data. So you should follow some uniformity. So then you have the number of outgoing students, number of final year students. I have just put that at that point of time, we had 1526, and then how many students appeared for the exam and what is the revaluation applications. So this is all with respect to student centric. The next one is academic. Now this academic is with respect to teachers. Most of it is with respect to the courses that are floated, the number of full-time teachers, the number of teachers who are recognized as guides, and then you have the total number of publication. So all these, here you have 7 of them. These 7 will become the denominator in most of them will go into criteria 3. Now, when you come to the last one that is on the institution, you have the number of eligible application for admission he talks about. He talks about any reserved categories, the seats earmarked for that. Number of the infrastructure, that is the classroom, seminar halls, computers that is there on the campus. Then he talks about the expenditure, the annual power requirement. So this will cater to more or less to the 4th criteria and the 7th criteria. So these 4 together will summarize the denominator for the 7 criteria that will appear in the criteria wise. So this ends my first part of the presentation. I would very quickly run into the second one, that is on the criteria wise. In today's discussion, I would like to discuss only 4 criteria today, because tomorrow we'll take up the remaining 3. Criteria 1, like we discussed, it is on the curricular aspects, and I've told you. First is, what are the efforts put in for the curriculum design? What is the flexibility that is offered? What is the measures taken to enrich the curriculum? And finally, what is the feedback from the stakeholders on curriculum? So this is the 4 bullets that is addressed over here. Now, if you see here, this is the template that we had taken at BMS College of Engineering. The left-hand side is what the NAAC people have given, and the right-hand side is what documents that we have to keep ready. So whatever I have shown you on the right-hand side is only what BMS College followed. Now, the first one is the number 1.1.1. Now, I would advise that when you're going for the NAAC, kindly save all the files by that number itself. 1.1.1 or 1.3.1. It is easy to go back to the this one document and then refer it. Otherwise, cross check will be very, very difficult, because we have 130 plus metrics in the entire autonomous college application form. So the first one is very clear. You can see the 1.1.1. He talks about what is the method that you have developed or adopted for the curriculum, and I have very clearly put in the yellow color. It says that it's a description of 500 words. So that means this is a qualitative metric. So you know that this is something to do with only a write-up. So what you have to do is you have to prepare this write-up. So it is left to the institute whether to divide the 7 criteria into 7 people, give it for 7 senior people who are capable of handling this data. That means they should be able to collect this data from various department coordinators and then compile it and give it to IQAC. So the procedure could be followed according to their manpower and whatever they feel is comfortable. But in our college, what we followed was IQAC was coordinating with all the coordinators. For the 7 criteria, we had 7 people as steering committee members, and they looked into the criteria wise inputs. And that is how we started filling this data. So first one is a clear indicative of a qualitative metric. Whereas you come to 1.1.2, this is one, it says percentage of programs where syllabus revision was revised during the last 5 years. So he is talking about syllabus revision. Now this syllabus revision happens across all the programs. That means, you know, the programs that are offered is 27 programs. In 27 programs, you will have 500 plus courses that is there. So that comes in your extended profile. So if you see the formula here, there is a numerator and a denominator. A numerator is the data that you provide in that metric, whereas the denominator is the value it will take from the extended profile. So that is the reason I wanted to share what is that extended profile of the institute. Now, this is the second metric which talks on syllabus revision. Now, you have to see 2 things are over here in this metric. One is the template. He calls it as per data template. Now, data template is an Excel sheet. In Excel sheet, he will ask what is a program code and what is the number of the programs that went through the revision. But if you see, there is uploading one. That's why in all the presentation, I have divided into 2 colors, so that the yellow color tells you what are the files to be uploaded. Now, there are 3 bullets. The couple of them I will discuss in detail so that you know how the flow goes. For this 1.1.2, the uploading documents are minutes of the relevant academic council or the board of studies meeting. He says any additional information. This any additional information will be there for all quantitative metrics. And then he says details of programs where the syllabus revision has happened in the last 5 years, which you have to adhere to the data template. That means it is very clear over here. When I'm uploading the online format of the accreditation, that is SSR, one is I need to show the proof of it, where it is vetted that this syllabus is being revised. And the next one is the data template, what is given by the metric. So that is what I have put up on the right side. So we have put here academic, ours was vetted in the academic council body, which is the highest body. So we have given the minutes of the meeting. And in the minutes of the meeting, you have to highlight very clearly that there was a revision of the syllabus. In the metric, he will ask you what is a percentage of revision that has been carried out. And this template 1 is you can see that it is an MS Excel sheet. All the quantitative metrics are put up in this template 1. Now, the next one, the next metric over here is with respect to average percentage of students who in the courses wherein there was employability, then there was an entrepreneurship, and then there was a skill development. So this is a very mega metric. So now these particular metric, and there is one more thing, that each of the metric will have different marks that will be allotted for it. For some, it will be 10 marks. For some, it will be even 1 mark. So you have to only check with the metric and see how you have to organize yourself to address that particular metric. So again, I repeat, this portion of it is your quantitative metric, because he tells it is a template. And here it is all the data to be uploaded. So you have to see that everything is in place before you start submitting your IIQA. Even this should be ready before you start IIQA, because once you submit your IIQA, he will give you the eligibility and he will give you only 30 days or 45 days. That's all for the final submission of the SSR. So they are very rigid about the timelines. So you have to follow that. So please keep all the data that is required and then start applying for the accreditation. So in this, you had the minutes of the Board of Studies meeting, Academic Council meeting, and because there is a template, there is an Excel sheet that comes into picture here. Now, in the other metric that here is, this metric talks about the new courses that have been introduced. It should be a new course. There is a difference between syllabus revision and altogether a new course. Now, you cannot say that it's the same syllabus and you have renamed it. That is not a new course, right? So it is only that the syllabus has gone through a revision. So if it is totally a new course, that comes from here. So from where do these data come? These data comes from all the programs. In BMS College, we have 18 departments, but we have 27 programs. So that for each and every program, we have to collect this particular new courses and then compile it into a sheet. And that is the template that is here. This is purely a quantitative metric. It has got nothing to do with any write-up. So the person who is in charge of taking this forward has to read the words very, very carefully, because they are very particular. NAAC is very particular about what is the metric that they've asked. And they've also given a commentary, that is, they call it as the standard operating procedures that is there. That is very helpful, that if you go through that SOP, if you have any doubt, you can see what is it that you need to address. Now, in this, it is about value-added courses. Now, if you see in your criteria 1, he's talked about curriculum enrichment. So it may happen that your university has a set format of all the courses, but you still feel that you want to take this program to what is happening to the outside world or what the industry demands. In such a case, you can float what is called as the value-added courses. At that point of time, we had around 43 value-added courses, but it tells what is the data you have to give. You have to have a data template, and also you have to have a file upload. Now, for value-added courses, we were supposed to take what he has given here in the second bullet, brochure or any document relating to value-added courses. That means you can give what is the brochure, or you can give a certificate copy of it for all the programs that was conducted in the institute. And for all the participants, you should keep a copy of the certificate, which the NAAC will ask for cross verification. Then the one of the other metric is how the curriculum is enriched, by which you can tell that the students are permitted to go to take up field visits. They go for industrial visit, site visit, they take up field projects, or it could be some internship that they take, short internship. Internship was part and parcel of the PG program. Then we have also made it mandatory for the UG program. So any of that, any activity that you do in the institute, you can try to fit into any of the metric. Okay, but only thing is you have to see that it follows what they have asked. So here it is only a template. That means only data entry is there, and then you have to put the certificates of each of the internship. So when we did this at BMS College, I still remember it was around 1,700 plus certificates that had to be scanned and then uploaded into the portal of NAAC. Now, the last part of it in curriculum 1 is about the feedback that he talks. So he says that you see, these are the stakeholders that we have put when we started off with this. We have 5 stakeholders, and then he just mentions, do you take a feedback from any one of them or any 4 of them? You have to opt for one option, and accordingly you have to see that it says you have to take the analysis. First you collect the feedback. So when you collect the feedback, you have to float the questionnaire of the feedback. The questionnaire for students and teachers, employees, all of them are different. For each one of them, you have to structure the feedback with respect to syllabus or with respect to the content in the syllabus. Get their feedback. By having got the feedback, you have to find out what are your plus points and what are your minus points or points for improvement, and that becomes the report of the analysis. This is one of the most important part in the criteria 1, that is the feedback system that has to be there. So for this, we had this many as our supporting documents. We had the feedback report, then we put the course and survey. That is also a feedback that we collect after every semester. Then we had academic council, the minutes of it, the BOM minutes, and then BOS minutes. All this showed us what was the feedback that we have taken on the curriculum. So with this, I would go into the criteria 2, which is a very big criteria with respect to weightage of marks. Now, the cross section for criteria 2 is student enrollment, student diversity, teaching learning process, about teachers, about evaluation, about the performance, and the last is student satisfaction survey. Any amount you tell that we do this, we do that, we have this in place, whatever may be, this is the one that will tell you whether we have really kept up our words. So student satisfaction survey is an independent survey that NAAC does with the information that is shared by us. So we don't have any hold on this, right? All we can do is we can give data only up to this. We give only student data here and they float what is the student satisfaction survey. So now this is one of the criteria metric where he talks about student diversity. That is how many students have come from other states and countries during the last 5 years. So you prepare one metric on this, give all the data. Now what is the data you have to give? Have they come from different state, the name of the state, and what is the highest examination he has passed in that board? Here you have to collect the certificates of that. Similarly, if he is an NRI, you have to see whether he has, which is the university he has studied over there, and collect all documents with respect to that. So this metric reflects the student diversity. Now in the next one, you can see here, this is about the teaching learning process. The teaching learning process, this is a qualitative metric. He talks about what is the initiatives taken by the institute with respect to slow learners and the advanced learners. What have they do? Because all the students are not the same. So first thing is, how do you recognize a student is a slow learner or a fast learner? And then what are the measures that you take? So you have to write up in 500 words. So generally, as an suggestion, I can say this can be written by the Dean Student Affairs or Dean Academic, can take up this responsibility and give the description in 500 words. The next one is, they have also written about, do you have differently abled students? Then what has the institute done to cater to this differently abled students? First, if they ask us what is the number of differently abled students, they find out the ratio with respect to total number of students on roll. See, this denominator was taken from the extended profile under the students. So this information, they will automatically come here. Now, what is the information we have to share here is the template details. Template details is the name of the student, the type of disability he has, and what is the certificate he has provided. So that information is the one that you need to upload. Now, next is with respect to teachers. Now, I have picked those important questions that is important from that particular section in criteria 2. So first one is on students diversity. Next, I'm talking about teachers. So this teachers here talks about the average percentage of full-time teachers with PhD degree. Now with PhD degree, during these years, that means in that year, how many of them obtained PhD? In 2015, let us say, only in 2015, how many of them obtained a degree? Now, when I talk about this year, it is the academic year. In case of NAAC, they have specified what is the academic year. Earlier, it was July to June, but very recently, they have changed it to June to May. So that means if I want it for 2015, it is automatically 2014-15. That means from July 2014 to June 2014 to May 2015, how many of them acquired PhD? So it is not that how many have acquired, that you would have written in the extended profile, but when you come to the metric here, you have to give the certificate from which university they have been obtained. So this is the, you can imagine what is the voluminous data that is to be collected. Now the next one is on, so I talked about student, teacher. Now I'm talking about the evaluation scheme. Now he tells what is the, in how many days you take to declare the results. So to declare the results, he is given one the metric here. He says the average number of days from the commencement of the examination to the declaration of the result. So you have to go to the controller of examination. You have to pass this metric to them and ask them which are the years that you want. So according to those years and the time period, he will say what are, because in every year, it is, all of us know there will be odd semesters and even semesters. So he has to give it separately and then he will compile it to this, whatever is the requirement, and submit it to the coordinator. So this is one, it's a metric which is only in the form of a table, but this is the data requirements. So data template, that means it will go into the Excel sheet. Now, the next one is on the automation that is followed with respect to the examination that is conducted. They ask whether you have a proper examination manual. Now, if you have started preparing for your accreditation, you can also make an attempt to at least prepare an examination manual. Actually, this NAAC process has to be viewed in a very it has to be viewed in a very encouraging way. That means it will tell us these are the requirements that any higher education institute is required to have. So if you do not have it, make an attempt to establish. This is the right time for which we can make an attempt to establish most of these things that are mentioned in the metric. So this is one thing. They ask us about the examination manual. Then he says, what is the status of automation? I think when in this particular 2021, or even I can say 1920 also, most of us can put you have to opt for one. So we can easily write the answer is option A, because all of us would have made serious efforts to do 100% automation. That is at least in BMS College, we are having almost complete digital platform for each and every wing. Let it be admission, let it be examination, let it be placement, everything is digitized. So this gave us, we had started with this process, but now we have reached a very comfortable stage where we have gone in for 100% automation. So this is what they ask for it. And then what do you give the information for that has to be captured in form of some screenshots to show that you are doing this automation. So this is about the evaluations system that is there. So the last one in criteria 2 is on the online student satisfaction survey. I would like to mention here, this student satisfaction survey is something that has got the highest marks that is marked for the entire criteria. Among all the criteria, this is the one that is marked for 50 marks. This is the only one that has 50 marks. You have with 20 marks, 10 marks, 5, 4, and up to 1. But this is the only one with 50 marks. So you should be very careful when you're providing this data. And he says, this is the data, online student satisfaction survey has to happen for the current year when you're going. So now if I'm going this year, then in 2021, who are the students enrolled in the campus? Who are the students? UG students, PG students, all of them have to be included, and their data has to be given. It's a very big task. In fact, I would advise that one separate person is made coordinator for the student satisfaction survey to compile the data, because they ask which class, the name of the student, class, gender, the ID number will be there. Now we may not be able to collect the Aadhaar, the mobile number, registered mobile number, official email ID, and to which program he is. This data has to be compiled in one Excel sheet. You cannot separate it into different sheets. So NAAC does not accept it. So in case of BMS College, if I'm right, we had 5544, 5,544 students details had to be given. In that year, it was 17-18, the year that we had the last year for the accreditation process. So that was the current year when we were doing the submission. So 5544 details of all this had to be given. Now what happens is, this data is simultaneous. Once you click the button of submit SSR, this gets initiated. So this student satisfaction survey will be initiated by the NAAC people. It is an independent one for which we don't have any hold. But all what we can do is, we can tell our students and tell our proctors or the mentors, whomever you call, you just tell them to inform the students that they will get a particular email from the NAAC body, which they should not ignore. They should take it and then answer the question. We should not influence the answer they give, but we should make them aware that this particular satisfaction survey will come. And that also, they do it in stages. They will only like to capture 30% of the students. From 30% of the students, they want the feedback. So they do it in different phases. They do 10% in first phase. After 10 days, they do another 10%, another 10%. So this, they do it in the phased way, which we don't have the control. But I would say this is a very important metric. Now, in the third criteria, that is on research, innovation, extension, you can see the bullets over here. First, what has the institute done to promote research, and what are the facilities provided? What is the money that is involved to mobilize research? In addition to this, any other innovative course ecosystem they have established? Then what are the publications, the patents, and the awards that has been got from the staff members or even from the research scholars? Then we have consultancy, a very important and integral part of this criteria. And then we have what is the collaborative works that is taken up. So you see, in all these words, the buzzing word is promote research culture. So all of them will help to promote research culture. Now this criteria, I told you, it's the highest number of metric that we have. We have 30 metrics in this particular criteria, and it is a very voluminous one. And this is a criteria where we have very less number of write-ups and maximum number of quantitative metric. So now here he says it starts off whether the institution has a well-defined policy for promotion of research, and the same is uploaded in the institutional website. So for me, the answer is yes. I will just put the answer is yes. It is not enough if I just put yes. I have to see what is the details or the file I need to upload. So the file I need to upload is all this. So that is what I have put up here. We have to see, we have to upload what is the policy. We have to see what was the inputs given by the academic council to promote research. Then how was it vetted by the board of governors that we have in our college? How is it vetted? In the form of the MOMs, that is the minutes of the meetings that we have. It has to be uploaded here. And finally, we have kept a template 3 to put up all these details there. Wherever there is a quantitative metric, criteria wise, we have created the Excel sheet. So now we go to the next one on this was the number of teachers awarded with the fellowship for carrying out advanced research and studies. So how many teachers have been encouraged to go abroad and see that they get an international fellowship for pursuing their advanced studies, or it could be pursuing their research work? Then the metric, what is the data requirement, is a template and the files to be uploaded. So the data template will have the name of the teacher and what was the type of the fellowship he was awarded, the award of it, the year in which it was awarded, and who is awarding it. Probably he is going to America. Let us say he is going to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to do his advanced studies. So all these details has to come here. In addition to this, you should have the e-copies. Okay, now for whatever documents that you're going to put up for your verification or for validation, you have to see that you should have hard copies as well as soft copies. So when the coordinator is collecting, you should give clear instruction that department wise, you please keep the hard copy and the soft copy. And they will keep in the department wise, and they will also share the same to the IQAC or into the institute level. So institute level will keep the entire, compile the entire data that is there from each of the department. Now, when this compilation happens in the department level, is also very good because it will help them for the program level accreditation. So the exercise is not at all a waste. So it has to be seen that it should be done in the true spirit, and it should be done with lot of care that you don't miss out any data. Now, another important thing in the criteria 3 is about the facilities. What are the facilities you have? Do you have an instrumentation center? We have a data center. Do you have a museum? Do you have a fabrication facility, like probably mechanical department in engineering thing will have, like we had a 3D printing center. Then we have studios. The architecture department can show up the studios. And then we have what are the research databases, like, or the statistical databases that the institute has procured to promote research. So anyone, he says, you opt for anyone. Whatever you opt for that, you please show the document for that you have all this in place. So this is how the criteria 3 goes. The next is on the teachers who are recognized as research guides. So here you can see the formula over here. Number of teachers who are recognized as research guides divided by the total number of teachers. So this total number of teachers, let us say it was 329 in a particular year. This I have put in, let us say, in the extended profile, which I showed you earlier. Then that gets reflected over here. So this is how the software is very, very robust. Hats off to NAAC people who have come up with this particular software. It is very well done. The software encompasses almost each and every detail that is required to project the growth of the institute. So the next one is on innovation, whether the institute has an ecosystem for innovation. So like we had some incubation centers we had started. It may be in a very small way, but whatever initiative that is taken can be shown over here, right? So we had put up some incubation centers from the medical electronics department that was taken up. So a write-up was asked on that. Then here the next query was on the code of ethics that you follow. So code of ethics, actually BMS has a very good document on the IPR policy. Then the plagiarism, we have the Turnitin software. So we have put all this document on the website. All this, see, whatever we claim, it has to be on the website. The NAAC people will cross-check it from the website, whoever is verifying it. The next one is, what is the incentive that is provided for the teachers so that they are encouraged to pursue the research. So this data that has to be given, you can see here, e-copies of the letter of the award should be furnished, list of awardees and the award details. What is the award? Did the teacher get the best teacher award? Did the teacher get a young scientist award? So this should be very carefully done, because they very clearly tell that these teachers who have received the awards should be from state level or national level or international level. It cannot be that like in a department level or in a college level, it was that they had got a best teacher award. They do not consider that. I do not say that it is wrong, but it is also an honor to get that award. But for what NAAC looks is, they just want to say the award should be from only these bodies. Then only they accept it. In case you put that in the e-copy of the letters and you upload it, they will come back immediately during the DVV process and they will say this cannot be accepted. Now, the next part of it is the publication details. Now, these publication detail, it's again a very big task. In fact, this publication detail is the major chunk in criteria 3, because in every college, every staff member would have made an attempt to do number of publication. Now, here they ask, first they ask on the citation in Scopus, Web of Science, and then the Indian Pub Media. So that is, you have the Indian Citation Index for that. But they give less weightage for the last one. If you see the formula here, 45% is for Scopus, 45% for Web of Science, whereas for the Indian Citation Index, it is only 10%. So number of citations divided by the total number of publication. Now, this is somewhere, this is a very, very robust software they have, that is the Infibinet. So they cross-check here from this and they source this data from there. We don't have any hold of it. We give the data in this template because it's mandatory. We give the data, but ultimately they will cross-check and they will take this information only from there. For the sake of submission, we have to complete it, but they will source it from this Infibinet source. Now, at this point, I would like to mention, we have to be very careful with what is the type of affiliation that we write when we are publishing the paper. So we have to streamline that. We have to see that is uniformity. Now, for example, I give the example of BMS College. Now, some staff members may write it as BMS College of Engineering. Some may write it as B.M.S.C.E. Somebody may just not give the dot, write it as BMSCE. So it can be anything like that. So we have to see that we have to give instruction to all the staff members. Now, whatever is published is done. So the search will go for all of them. There are chances that a few of them may be missed. So we have to see that at least we should follow henceforth uniformity in the affiliation details that we show here. The next is on consultancy. So the total, this one emphasis is done on the consultancy, because consultancy wing is supposed to indicate another healthy wing of research. So what is the amount, what is the policy they ask? What is the policy? That means they ask what is the distribution that the college has set in, and that should be in the form of minutes of the meeting from the BOG, the highest body that every institute will have, or whichever is the highest body that is there. So they will tell what is the division, whether it is 50-50, whether it is 70-30, 60-40. So that policy should be put up, and then in these years you have to give the details. Now in the template you should say who was the consultant, what was the project, and then what was the details, contact details of the consulting agency, what was the revenue generated in rupees, and then you add entire thing for that particular year, it reflects the total revenue generated in rupees. Now, whenever any money is involved, the NAAC specifies that you have to upload the audited statement of the account. So this is another important exercise. Every institute will have an account section, will have a chartered accountant. So they insist that you have to put up the audited statement. You need not put the entire audited statement of that particular financial year. You have to take that statement, highlight those pages in which this consultancy value, let us say it was 43 lakhs, whether that 43 lakhs that was generated in, let's say in 15-16 has come into your audit statement. That is all they see here. So you have to be careful about the money part of it. Now coming to the extension and the outreach programs that are there. These are the bodies who are also part and parcel, where our students and staff members are actively involved. It could be the NSS wing, NCC wing, Red Cross, Youth Red Cross, or whatever are the wings that are set up. What are they doing? Because these are the people who volunteer to do a lot of community service, right? They get tied up with NGOs. What is it that they're doing? So each and every activity of theirs has to be included here. Very important over here is the report of the events has to be there. So in 2013-14, if I say I have 11 activities I have conducted, then NAAC will check whether 11 reports are generated. Now in the report, what is it they require? It is enough if you give a one-page report. First, when it was conducted, what was the name of that particular? It could be an AIDS awareness program. Or like, for example, now it is a pandemic, it could be about the COVID-19 program. Awareness. So you put the title, when it was conducted, how many of them participated, and a small photograph. So this is the report of the event that they expect for all the events that is conducted by the institute. The last part of your criteria 3 is on the collaborative activities. Now this collaboration, they say the collaboration can be multifold. It can be with respect to research. It could be also faculty exchange program, student exchange program that has occurred. It could be between the institutes. It could be between the institute and the premier institute. It could be between the state institute and another university in the country, or it could be even abroad. So any sort of this one collaborative activity is considered over here. The data template required for that is all this. What is the title of collaboration? Was it research or was it an exchange program? Or was it a joint paper or a research project also that has been executed? So then name of the collaborating agency. What is the support source of financial support that was got? What was the year of collaboration, the duration of it? For some, it could be 1 year. For some, it could be even 1 month. It's okay. So you need to put all this document. Very important, you have to collect the copies of the collaboration. Only then NAAC will give weightage to this. The last one is the functional MOUs that they specify. These functional MOUs again is a very important part of your criteria 3. Just like we have a publication, even this MOUs also has to be there. I would like to stress in criteria 3, the publication, the patents, the consultancy, and then the MOUs. These 4 are very important, and these are some data that is available in all the higher education institute. So pooling the data, then organizing data in the format asked by NAAC is very important, and also the copies. Like I would just mention, like now, let us say we had 153 MOUs that we specify. That is the sum of 5 years. We have 153 MOUs, let us say. So they would like to check whether e-copies of 153 MOUs are uploaded. So this is the level, I can say the micro level that NAAC goes into verification. The criteria 4 is the last part of the discussion today, which is done on infrastructure and learning resources. All facilities, he puts it under one heading as physical facilities. He gives a lot of importance, NAAC gives a lot of importance to library as a learning resource. IT infrastructure, and in this pandemic time, IT infrastructure is very, very important. And then how are we maintaining this campus infrastructure? All of them are part and parcel of the campus infrastructure. So all this is required for a healthy academics to happen in the campus. Okay, so now this is very, and the criteria 4 is the smallest criteria of all the criteria. It has got hardly 8 to 10 metrics, that's all. But here the information that you give has to be I cannot say it is neither quantitative neither qualitative. It is a blend of both of them. So this is where the peer team will come and look into it. In some cases, now for example 4.1.3 that I picked up, it talks about the classrooms and the seminar halls which are ICT enabled. So they would literally would like to look into it. But when you are putting it, when you are uploading this particular information, you can take the photographs of it. You can show some of the photographs, and then you can put it on the this one submission when you're doing the SSR. Now, in addition to that, in this particular criteria, he talks about what is the finance aspect. That means, see, when you're going to provide facilities and infrastructure, definitely it involves a lot of money. So they want to see what is the budget allocation. See, in any institute, salary component is one component that takes more than 50%, I can say, or I can say even 70% of the budget allocation. But they would like to see whether there is an improvement in the allocation of budget from year to year with respect to the physical facilities that is provided. So in the next one, you can see budget, he clearly says excluding the salary. So in every year, what was the infrastructure augmented for the 5 years? So you have to, this is only the budget. In one slide, one metric, he will ask the budget. In the next metric, he will ask what is the utilization that you have done. Say we should be fair enough. Whatever we have done, we have to put it, and we have to show to some extent what is the progress that is happened in that particular year. Okay, the next is on the learning resources. That is, I was telling you about the library. So they ask whether we subscribe to e-journals, Shodh Sindhu, then whether we have Shodh Ganga membership, then do we have electronic books, then how many databases we have. This is a very huge one. It's a huge chunk of it. I will be very proud, and of course our principal also is very proud. We have a very nice library that we are going to show you the audio round, the visual round, that is tomorrow, where we'll be projecting our learning resource as one of the best practices in our tomorrow's presentation. So then you can see one of the other metric is about how many people are using the library. So they would like to see what is your logbook, whether you have maintained a logbook. We have made a photocopy of the different pages. So you can imagine for the library, how many people use it per day. So we had to scan through the logbook and then convert it into a document, PDF document, and then upload it into the website. So this is about the expenditure of the physical facilities that was provided. So this is the document here, and the right side, what was the supporting document I have mentioned here. So I think I have come to the end of the presentation that was planned for today. I would just summarize what I have told today is on the importance of NAAC, the how they do this accreditation, how IQAC plays an anchor role in this accreditation process. And then I have gone criteria wise, wherein I have discussed the 4 criteria about curriculum, about teaching learning, then research, and the last one was on infrastructure. So now I'm open for any questions. I would happily answer and share what we have in our institute.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very extended, elaborative, and thorough talk on NAAC accreditation process. We appreciate your expertise and efforts in explaining us very thoroughly. And now I request participants interested, please raise your questions through chat box. And we have some questions, ma'am.
Yeah, you can read it to me.
Yeah, Dr. Srinivas, our Dean School of Engineering, has asked, can you please suggest a good mechanism to create documents for the earlier years? Means the procedure to gather the documents and how to upload these things, whether to go for a physical form or whether to store them in a soft form. This is what his question.
Yes, I would, yes, yes, sir. I would advise that you keep both the forms. You should have the hard form as well as the soft form of it. For the previous years, I know it is very difficult. Documentation is very, very difficult. It is always better that if you plan to go for accreditation, let us say if you plan to go this, let us say today you plan to go for accreditation, it will at least take minimum 6 months for you to get ready for that. Definitely it will, and if the data is too much, I would also say it is 1 year. It will be close to 1 year. So for that, what you need to do is you have to do a very quick exercise. Please, you see that you distribute the work to among your departments, how many departments you have. Identify a department coordinator and just ask that coordinator to bring some details on this. See, there are some chunk of the details I will tell you till the criteria 4. Now, criteria 1, I see that internship, it's the one that takes maximum details, and the curriculum. The curriculum syllabus, that takes a lot of data. If you go to criteria 2, the CO, POs, that takes a lot of data. Then feedback takes a lot of time. You come to criteria 3, the publications, the consultancy, and the MOUs. And these all put together, and even the extension activities by NCC and NSS, they are the things that is there commonly available in all the higher education institutes. So collecting the data becomes important. So what you need to do is, I can give one suggestion that against each metric, you find out to whom this particular data has to go, right? And then send that particular, only send those metrics to that person. Now, for example, it is NSS, NCC, you send it to that NCC, NSS coordinator of that institute over there. Tell him, I just want it for 1 year. You see, I think everybody will be very happy to share for the previous year or the current year. Like I'm asking now 2021 means I'm sure 1920 data will be in their memory. So how they have been able to share, whether they're able to share in the format that is specified by NAAC. So once you are satisfied with that, you tell him, I want for the remaining 5 years also, and you have to give them time. See, one thing is, you cannot say, you roll the format today and you cannot tell that tomorrow you get the details. It is not possible. It is not possible. They will not even read the template. I'm telling you with the experience that we have, they will not even open the mail. It had come to a point where IQAC mails, people would just shut a blind eye to it. So then we would follow it up. That is the level that IQAC office did. I showed you the photographs of 4 people who have done, they are the strength of this NAAC process. So they have done day in and day out, sir, holidays, general holidays, Sundays, all the days that we have worked. Anyway, we have worked for BMSC. That is the ultimate thing that I would like to carry. So this is what I would say, just take for 1 year, sir. Get the sample of it and get the feel how much data is there. You have to segregate. The person who is coordinating has to be very clear. Now I want 3.1.1 from whom I should get it. 3.1.2. So once you segregate the data, number 1. Second, you have to you give a timeline. Third, you have to follow up whether they are going to give it within the timeline. Then next, you have to compile it. And the last is you have to document and submit. It's different stages of it. It will happen in a phased manner, sir. You have to do it. So 6 months, I would put it as 6 months. If you need this preparation for 5-year documentation. And there are some times in metric that you don't have a data, nothing can be done, because the NAAC people also give an option, like we give for students, no, they can pick 5 out of 8 questions to answer. They will say 5 questions that you would like to leave it off. Among the 130, this one 132, I think, was the metric that we had, number of metrics from criteria 1 to criteria 7. Opt-out option will be there.
Ma'am, we have a few more questions.
Yes, sir.
Another one from Dr. Srinivas only.
Yes, sir.
During budgeting, to what granular level should we go? Means to what extent discrete level we can have the budgeting related documents? Data may not be available for very granular levels.
Yes, sir. Then what you can do is, anyway, you are sure that you have you have allocated that, but somehow you don't have the data, then you have to tell your chartered accountant. You have to see that that particular sheet is extracted or you can prepare that sheet exclusively only for that. Like for example, it could be the physical facilities that is there. You ask that particular person to sign it. The chartered accountant has to sign. Without vetting it, NAAC will not take it, sir. For all the qualitative metric, the IQSC coordinator and principal has to vet it, because chairman and convener of IQSC. For all financial aspects, it is principal will be there for everything, but it has to be vetted by a chartered accountant or somebody like you say highest financial body that is there. They look into that. They are very particular about. So finance, they will go into very, very minute levels.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks
Yes.
a lot. And we have one more question from Sangeeta, madam. Ma'am, many journals allow us, according to IP address, which type of proofs we provide for them?
That is our publication, IP address.
Yeah, many journals allow us according to IP address, which type of proofs we provide for them.
Yeah, see now in the criteria 3, he has very clearly asked, he wanted one metric on only those journals, publications that has happened in UGC, let us say. Now we faced one problem when we were doing that particular metric. Now in UGC, what happens? In that particular year, there were some journals. In the next year, some were added, some were deleted. So then what we have done is we have gone to the archives of that particular UGC, this one website, and then we have taken that information that this journal was mentioned in that particular year, and hence this publication we have considered here. So it is like that. So for publication, madam, I would tell you need not worry that much. Whatever publication you have done, you please put it in the template. Anyway, the InfluBNet will search. We have no hold on that, sir. InfluBNet itself will do it. Then it will give the final calculated value. What is it is, I think, for 5 marks.
Yes.
That's why I stressed on the institute affiliation. You should be very particular about the institute affiliation. Now, for example, there are some teachers in that year, they had publication in the previous institute, but they joined here. That it will not consider. It will not consider, because in the publication you have given, let us say myself in 14-15, I was in Dayanand Sagar, and 14-15, I came to BMS college, and I have a publication in Dayanand Sagar affiliation. I cannot show it here, sir. I cannot show. It will not take. Even if I show it, will that InfluBNet will remove it, sir. It is like that.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
And we have, if you are okay with, we have one more question from Professor Rajgopal, Chairman Mechanical Engineering.
Yes, sir.
Is it necessary to maintain different formats for AAA and NAAC documentation? This is his question.
AAA is academic. I mean, academic and administrative audit. Different formats. So there are different formats. For the auditing, you do is a different format, and that audit report, what you do, you upload it in the NAAC. That is what we did it.
And
what is the format? Can you be specific, sir? I can understand.
Yes, sir. Can you please elaborate on this?
Yeah,
Yes,
I would like.
Yeah. Ma'am, meanwhile, we can go for next question.
Yes.
Dear ma'am, I want to know the minimum time period required for filling the SSR. Preparation of SSR, how much time it is required?
Sir, it will take thorough 6 months, sir. 6 months. And then once your SSR is ready, only you should go for that IIQA.
Yes.
That I can give that suggestion, sir. Don't jump into IIQA by giving some numbers. See, IIQA is a summary. IIQA, what those 4 things they've given: program, student, teacher, and institution, what they've given, no? The 4 things, they are the summary of 7 criteria, the denominators that go there. So don't jump into that, sir. Please keep your SSR first. From SSR, you extract the information for IIQA. You have to do it like that. Then once you submit your IIQA, your time starts ticking.
Yes, sir.
So you cannot ask for extensions, sir. They don't give. You have to do it within the timeline.
Okay, ma'am.
6 months you finish. Please, you finish in 6 months, and then you go in for that IIQA.
Yes, ma'am. We have one more question from Rija, madam.
Yes.
I'm working from 5 years. I want to keep all 5 years course file as well as hard copy. Suppose I handled every semester different courses, 5 to 10 courses as personal file.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. I think that's a valid question. See, you have to keep the course files. Now, course files is a must. Now, that course files, what you have maintained, will be audited in your academic audit. And that is the report that they submit to when you're submitting it to NAAC. So course files is a must, madam. 5 years, you whatever courses you have handled. I'm sure every teacher will handle 2 courses per semester. That is 2 theory courses that are there, and then several lab programs that are there. It will be there, madam. You have to maintain it. Unless this accreditation is over, you have to maintain. Maintaining course file is very good also, because there will be a smooth handover. Suppose the teacher leaves the college or retires or whatever may be the reason, or takes a sabbatical, and any other person or junior person or anybody who is coming to take up that course will get to know how this teacher was handling it. So I would say madam has to maintain it, has to keep those course files.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, we have one more question from Professor Anil Ahlawat from KIT NCR Delhi.
Yes, sir.
When we will fill IIQA if cycle 1 or completes, or 24th May 2021, he is asking.
Okay, wait. His cycle is cycle 1 completes in May 2021, na? Okay. Yes, yes. Yeah, they say that normally NAAC says 6 months in advance. That is when you are in the accredited status, you have to submit the SSR. That is what they say, 6 months. So now it is correct. Now it is 6 months. It should be continuous. Now it's a right time. Yeah, it's a right time now that let us say now you are ready with SSR, right? You can now, if you're ready with your SSR, you can submit tomorrow only with your IIQA. No problem, even though the time is there till May 2021. You're in the last 6 months, they give it as the time for you, so that your accreditation status should remain the same. Right? We should be applied or we should be accredited. That is what they will look. So now we are last 6 months. According to what I understood, May 2021, they will first cycle will be over, means now they should initiate the process of submitting for cycle 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And many people appreciated your talk, no? And
No, thank you. I hope it was information. The whole idea is to share information, like Chairman and Vice Chancellor mentioned. It is only that we need to share and grow together and see that quality is maintained. If there are no more questions, probably we can leave, and I would join again at 2:30 tomorrow, where I will continue with criteria 5, 6, 7, and then we would like to project, because 7 has the best practices. So we would like to share with you some of the best practices that is followed in BMS College of Engineering.
Great, ma'am. Now I request Professor A. Srinivas, Dean School of Engineering, to extend the closing remarks and a summary of today's talk. So
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Hemadri. Today we had a very informative session from Dr. Mangala of BMSC. The explanation of various criteria was done in a very illustrative way. The tips that were used were really ready to use, and such lucid explanations will bring in high confidence levels to go in for accreditation for the universities. In all, it's clear that NAAC is not just document building, but it is for building a very high quality academic system. And we are extremely grateful to you, ma'am, for initiating this discussion. And we are thankful to BITES also for coordinating this. And tomorrow we look forward to your explanation again for the other 3 criteria. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for very nice summarizing it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. We'll
Thank
be
you. Yeah. Thank you, Vinay. Yeah. Yeah.
And thank you everyone for your valuable time, and especially guests from NCR region.
I need to leave.